All right, now we're talking UCLA women's basketball, one of the most anticipated seasons that Cori Close has ever had, leading the helm of the program. And KJ, for UCLA, it seems like it's been building, obviously. You get that Super 22 class. They've been slowly building, adding in the transfer portal, losing a couple of players here and there. And all of a sudden, this is the year. This is the chance to win the national championship. They got to the Final Four last year, preseason number 3, a gauntlet of a November schedule that includes what? Oklahoma, includes a San Diego State. I've talked about this a little bit before, a week ago when the schedule came out. Even the mid-majors they're playing were tournament teams a year ago. So even the quote-unquote cupcakes, all tournament teams. You mix an Oklahoma top 10 team, Tennessee a top 10 team, whether it's a Texas, a Duke, or South Carolina when they play in Vegas, North Carolina. This is as stacked of a schedule as you're going to see in the sport.
Yeah, it's one of the best schedules in the country in terms of the non-conference. It's going to prepare the young ladies for what matters at the end of the day. Can they beat a high-level UConn or South Carolina in the NCAA tournament, or LSU? Or, I think those kind of are the teams that I would look at. Texas, obviously, is going to be an issue. But, can you beat those teams when it really matters? Coach Close made a concerted effort this season to play literally every single team that someone transferred to from. So everybody that transferred last year, we're playing them this year. I love it. I'm excited about how we're opening the season against Oklahoma. Aaliyah Chavez, the number 1 player in the country. We heavily recruited her. Oklahoma also was in on Gianna Neepkin. So it came down to us in Oklahoma for the sharpshooter out of Minnesota. So that's going to have a lot of backstory. Obviously, the game against North Carolina, the number 11th ranked team in the country, Elena Alarsalo, is a homecoming for her. We get to see her again in Las Vegas. And then that Texas team, man, they got some really good guards. They got somebody, Rory Harmon, who I'm familiar with, really good player. She was hurt last year. She's going to be back this year, I believe. So all that to be said, man, these are going to be high-profile matchups. Are going to be nationally televised. Most of them will be on TV, televised, and there's going to be a lot at stake. And for Coach Close, I'm sure that her approach to coaching is building. It's obviously not trying to, the world's coming to an end if we suffer a loss or two during this gauntlet. But, in my heart of hearts, I know that she's trying to win every single game. She's trying to coach to win. Last year, you saw that this is a UCLA team at its core that can run off a lot of wins in a row. Last year, we were, 34-3. We only lost to USC and UConn. And everybody else, had a problem. And so I think that this will be the same case this year. I feel like we're a lot deeper team. I think this year's roster makes a lot more sense to make a national championship run. Shorter, it's quality over quantity. You had 12, 13 players, but those 10 players that are really going to play and contribute, they're all on the same page. They're all locked in, and the pieces fit a little bit better. It was a little bit of addition by subtraction for Coach Close and her crew. So I'm excited. Sienna Betts is coming in, Lauren's sister. I feel like she's going to come in and really help. It gives us 2 of the most versatile, physically imposing posts in the country. And then on the guards position with Kiki Rice and Charlisse Leger-Walker, you have 2 of the best guards. In fact, Kiki, in a lot of mock drafts that I've been seeing recently, top 10 pick, number 7. I've seen one had her number 9, highly regarded. Hopefully that she comes out, all the shoulder and all the injury stuff is all good with her, and she comes out and has a great start to the season. Then Gianna Neepkin, she's a hell of a shooter. How she's going to impact this UCLA offense in terms of opening up more space for the post, Lauren Betts and others to operate. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to watch, because I don't think that. It's been a while since I've seen a UCLA squad this stacked, women's basketball, this stacked from 1 through 7, 8, 9. I mean, you got a lot of players, high-level players, WNBA-type talent. So it's all about pulling it together, and UCLA definitely has the schedule to get them ready for that tournament gauntlet.
Yeah, you talk about the post. You have Lauren Betts, especially with Juju Watkins hurt. She's not playing this year. That's already been announced by USC and Juju. She's front runner for Player of the Year. And then you have somebody who could either play alongside her or sub in for her that is arguably maybe just as talented. We still have to see how Sienna Betts fits in the rotation and what that's going to look like this season. But when you have somebody who's just as talented in the post, if Kiki Rice isn't doing as well underneath the break point guard wise, you're not going to like a true freshman. You've got two possible ball handlers you can give the ball to. Everybody can mostly shoot when you come to positions 2 through 3 through 4. The Bruins are deeper shooting wise than they've been, multiple ball handlers, and they have multiple posts. It is the deepest team I think Cori Close has had. Would you say that?
Yeah, that, and I think it's what you have when you have multiple ball handlers. I mean, I think that's probably addressing UCLA's biggest issue from last year. We really ran into problems when teams pressured up full court on Kiki Rice, sped her up, made her turn and have to make plays from kind of an off-balance position. I think with Charlisse Leger-Walker, you have a 4-time All Pac-12 selection, one of the Washington State's all-time leading scorers. Before her knee injury, she was on several WNBA mock draft boards. So it would be interesting to see what type of form that she's able to return to. And if she can return to her form, boy, oh boy. And I think also don't sleep on Gabriela Jaquez and her impact, how she's going to come in. The seniors, right? So you have Angela Dugalich, who I think is going to start next to Lauren
Betts.
And I think Dugalich is going to start. I think she'll start. I think also Tamia Gardner is going to obviously play a big role off that bit. So I don't know where. I think Sienna's going to be playing some center so she can get in the game. I think early we'll be able to see how she does. I think that also I didn't mention that Oklahoma game, but they have a center named Reagan Beers who transferred from Oregon State. We're very familiar with her. Betts versus Beers is going to be a movie. Both players are highly regarded. Beers is super strong, super solid, and this is they have a lot of familiarity there. So I'm really excited about that matchup. But I'm really, it's going to be interesting to see just, how Coach Close puts all the pieces together and who goes where.
It'll be interesting for sure. And obviously, if they beat Texas in that Vegas matchup around Thanksgiving, they'll either play South Carolina or Duke. And those are two teams that are in the top 10. Obviously, I want to see South Carolina. I like to give them another thumping again. But obviously, when you put Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks in the game against UCLA, that's a primetime matchup. And everybody's be watching football. No. I'm going to have that game glued to watching, hopefully, UCLA, South Carolina on Thanksgiving Day. Now let's pivot real quick, Chris. UCLA has had a couple of 26s commit to the next year's recruiting class. The Bruins were wondering with a senior-heavy roster. This is the team that is going all in this year. I don't think they'll be anywhere near a preseason top 5 next year. They can be very good, but they're not as great as this team will be from this year to next year. Doesn't mean they won't be really good, but this is what they got coming in. You have Somto Okafor, who just committed, and you have Isi Etut, who also committed to UCLA in the last couple of weeks. What do you know about them, and what does that fit potentially, KJ, for UCLA in the year to move forward when they're losing a Lauren Betts, a Kiki Rice, and some of the transfers?
Well, Okafor is a Spanish guard, I believe of Nigerian descent, but her game, she's a defensive stopper. She has an elite motor. And she's a serious slasher, can score it offensively, attacks the rim, puts pressure on you. I mean, really has the ability to get downhill. Kind of reminds me in a lot of ways of Charisma Osborne, her impact on the game.
Could she shoot as well as Charisma?
Not well, from what I've seen, I see her attacking more. So
okay.
I'll be interested to see if she can shoot it that way. She really doesn't settle for jumpers. So she's always on the attack. I feel like she's a good guard to bring in just because of her, not only her international experience and her level of seasoning, but she's twitchy. And so she's athletic and she's long and she's rangy. She can move side to side and go up and down. And those are the type of guards that you're going to need to beat South Carolina and all these other elite teams. And even mess with USC and some of the other top teams in the Big Ten. You need length and athleticism in the women's game. Also, the other young lady, Joyce East. Yeah, Joyce East from Luxembourg, by way of IMG Academy in Florida. 6'2", smart player, high level, big body. moves people, but can, put it on the floor a little bit. Not saying a lot of bit, but just nimble, understands how to play, a good piece. And I think for now, for Coach Close, it's just really about piecing together your 2026 class. There's her recruiting, this NIL stuff has kind of changed a lot of coaches' philosophy and how they recruit and the type of players they go after. And so, you will see, like, with these two signings, you get two international players. One's at IMG and Academy, sort of a dedicated facility to kind of churn out athletes. You might not get as many conventional athletes, although Autumn Fleury, the young lady from Sidwell and Friends, Kiki Rice's alma mater, she is announcing this Saturday, I believe. I think we are in the top 4. Some have said Duke might be making a push, but Duke signed a player that was, Bella Fleming, who's number 16 ranked recruit in the country. So I think Fleury's a Bruin. And if you have Fleury, who at the point guard position is as dynamic as they come, for high school talent, right? Now you have Okafor, Fleury, and you have Ituti in this 26 class that you build and you piece around Lena and Sienna. And now you're talking, because you got to also consider, just your roster makeup and the type of players you have. If you have a couple players that aren't twitchy athletes, you might need to surround them with them. And I think what we're saying is Coach Cole's kind of building the process. Now, I do think that she will hit the portal heavy. So I think that, building a roster with a base, a nice mix of international and high school, probably after Fleury, probably one more high school player to make it 4, and then probably go 4 in the portal. And so I think that's going to be her move. I think that's going to, how she's going to build for 2026, because they lose a lot. I mean, UCLA, you're losing like what? Shoot, 9, 8, 7 seniors? I don't know, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
A ton of production, WNBA draft picks. So you got to retool. And what I do know about Coach Close, she is going to retool. She's got to get some players, and we see that with these two. Excited about their future.
On the schedule, what do you think is the biggest game this year's team is going to play? Whether it be in Big Ten Conference, I think Maryland's at the edge of that top 10 too. Obviously, USC is huge. Without Juju, it's just not the same. Which of those games, if they even do play South Carolina, do you put that on the schedule as the toughest opponent, non-conference, conference, prior to a tournament or Big Ten tournament?
It's got to be South Carolina.
If they can get there.
I mean, I mean, you can say what you want. If UCLA beats Texas, they're going to be playing South Carolina. South Carolina got a whip this year. They got one of the leading scorers in the country that transferred, that they got in on NIL, Latanya Watson from Florida State, averaged 25 a game last year. They got those bigs. They have some serious talent on the wings. And Dawn Staley is going to remember last year shellacking in Pauley Pavilion. So I just think that South Carolina and Duke, I like Duke. I like what they have. We actually went hard after one of their young lady that was playing for them, one of their guards that kind of fits how this Okafor. She kind of reminds me of Okafor, same kind of build and type of player. But I just don't. I mean, for me, it's going to be South Carolina. I'm not even saying if they get past Duke. I'm saying it's going to be South Carolina when UCLA plays South Carolina.
We all want them to play South Carolina. We want it. We need it. The sport wants it.
That's the game. That's the game, and that's going to give UCLA a lot of confidence. I think last year after beating them, although Malaysia Fulwiley wasn't playing that game or came in and then didn't play the majority of the game, Dawn Staley was kind of pulling her in, pulling her out. She's now at LSU. That was a big time player not to have. So I don't think we beat South Carolina when they're at full strength. I'll be honest with you. But to beat South Carolina the way we did with who they put out there, definitely a huge, huge accomplishment. And I think that they will be chomping at the bit for the rematch.
Yeah, Vegas. Absolutely. Dawn Staley will have her team ready to go. Even though they have a game the night before, she'll be hoping. She'll be hoping and praying that they play UCLA. And I hope they play South Carolina. But that is Kris Johnson. Those 4 letters, Here District. Anything else I can find you on, Kris, before we let you go?
No, you can just follow me on Twitter at Kris Johnson Live, and we connect.
Let's do it. That is the 1995 UCLA champ legends. One of the legends of UCLA basketball. Hey, come on, Mick. Let's go. You see Cal basketball doing all those nice things. Let's get Kris to a good game. Get him to that Purdue game, the number one team in the country, later this year. And that Arizona. Bring him to the Intuit Dome. Bring them all there. And he'll write a nice piece about you.
All I want is courtside. That's all I ask.
Yeah. And then maybe you can dunk on your dad too, because doesn't he have the birthday dunk?
Inhale or freeze over, right? No, I'm just kidding.
That is KJ. Thanks for joining us once again.